On the morning of May 18, 2025, history echoed through the cobblestones of St. Peter's Square. Tens of thousands gathered, pilgrims and dignitaries alike, to witness the inauguration of a new pope, a moment both sacred and historic. Riding through the crowd in the Popemobile, Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope, greeted the faithful with humility and hope. The eyes of the world turned to the Vatican, where leaders from every corner of the globe arrived in solemn respect. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskiy, accompanied by First Lady Olena Zelenska, shook hands with fellow statesmen. From the United States, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio joined the congregation. European figures like Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and even royalty, Prince Albert and Princess Charlene of Monaco, filled the front rows, signifying the weight of the moment. Before stepping into the spotlight, Pope Leo paused inside the hallowed walls of St. Peter's Basilica. Surrounded by cardinals, he offered prayers and blessings, swinging the thurible with slow reverence, invoking centuries of tradition. It was here, away from the crowds, that the spiritual gravity of the papacy met the man now entrusted with its burden. With the bells of St. Peter's ringing and sunlight pouring over the square, the Pope emerged. Clad in white, walking with purpose, Pope Leo began the inaugural Mass, his first as the leader of over 1 billion Catholics around the world. In a solemn ritual, Pope Leo received the pallium, a woolen vestment symbolizing his role as the shepherd of Christ's flock. Moments later, he was given the fisherman's ring, cast in gold, the symbol of his authority as the successor to St. Peter. With these gestures, he was no longer just Cardinal Louis Prévost. He was now Pope Leo XIV. In his homily, Pope Leo spoke of legacy and progress, of honoring faith's deep roots while meeting the urgency of modern trials. He called attention to the world's suffering. In Gaza, he said, children, families, elderly survivors are starving. He mourned the violence in Myanmar, where young lives have been lost to fresh hostilities, and expressed deep solidarity with the people of Ukraine, urging the world toward a just and lasting peace. After the Mass, world leaders lined up to greet the new pontiff. Pope Leo exchanged warm words with President Zelenskiy and his wife. He smiled as he met U.S. officials, a sign of the growing American presence in the Vatican. As guests bowed or embraced him, the message was clear: his mission would be both spiritual and diplomatic. But amid the pomp and politics, a deeply human moment emerged. Standing near the basilica steps, Louis Prévost, the Pope's older brother, embraced him in front of the cameras. Two brothers, now separated by robes and responsibilities, but still bound by blood and memory. At 69 years old, Pope Leo XIV begins his papacy with a heavy mantle and an open heart. His first day marked by faith, fellowship, and a resounding message that the Church must not only preserve its past but boldly confront the future. With the election of Pope Leo XIV, the Catholic Church turns a new page in its 2,000-year history. He is the first American pope, a distinction that carries both symbolic weight and global curiosity. Born Louis Prévost in Milwaukee, he grew up far from the marble halls of the Vatican, grounded in working-class values and Midwestern Catholicism. Now, he holds the keys to St. Peter's. Pope Leo inherits a church at a crossroads. On one hand, tradition, doctrine, and global reach. On the other, shrinking congregations, scandals, and a rapidly changing world.
We placed in God's hands our desire to elect the new successor of Peter, the Bishop of Rome, a shepherd capable of preserving the rich heritage of the Christian faith, and, at the same time, looking to the future, in order to confront the questions, concerns and challenges of today's world. In the joy of faith and communion, we cannot forget our brothers and sisters who suffer from the wars. In Gaza, children, families, elderly survivors are starving. In Myanmar, new hostilities have claimed innocent young lives.
He must bridge generations, uphold orthodoxy, and speak to young Catholics asking difficult questions about gender, justice, and inclusion. And with wars in Ukraine, Gaza, and Myanmar, his moral voice may be tested faster than his predecessors. But Pope Leo's appeal isn't bound by geography. The Catholic Church is no longer Eurocentric, its growth lies in Africa, Latin America, and Asia. As an American with an international outlook, Pope Leo is expected to deepen the Church's global dialogue, to listen, learn, and lead. His tone so far is clear, bold on peace, rooted in humility. No one can predict the full shape of a papacy in its early hours. But in his gestures, a firm handshake with world leaders, a blessing over a silent square, an embrace with his brother, Pope Leo XIV has signaled something more than tradition. He's offered presence. And in a time of global unrest, the world will be watching, not just what he says from the pulpit, but how he shows up, for the Church, and for humanity. As dusk falls on St. Peter's Square, a new voice echoes through the Vatican. Pope Leo XIV begins not with thunder, but with the quiet, deliberate rhythm of faith in motion. A pope born in America, chosen in Rome, called to serve the world. His journey has just begun.